Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna, 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 Hare Hare Rama, Rama, Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama,
Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Hare Rama Rama Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama
Hare Krishna, Sapan Prabhu, Samyukta Mataji, Lakshmi Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Sorry for the delay. I need to connect at 6:30, but I couldn't. So let us start with Mangalacharana prayers. Okay, thank you for joining. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mukhaṁ karoti vācālam pangum langāyate girim yatkripatamaham vande Shri Gurum Denatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanyam Ishwaram. Om apavitra pavitro va sarvavastam gatopi va yasmaret pundarikaksham sabhyabhyantaram suchi. Sri Vishnu Sri Vishnu Sri Vishnu. Yeah, so we are reading from a small book written by Srila Prabhupada, Krishna, the Reservoir of Pleasure. So let us see the third section, which is part of Bhagavad Gita as it is also in the introduction part. But anyway, let us read. So let me share. Thank you, Sirisha Mataji, for joining. Appreciated. Yes.
హరే కృష్ణ ప్రభు ధన్యవాదాలు.
How was your trip?
Very beautiful, Prabhuji. How it is passed, we don't know.
Radha Govardhan.
Yeah, Prabhuji. I'm very happy to be there, Prabhuji. అక్కడ ఉన్నందుకు
కృష్ణుడు అరేంజ్ చేసిన మీ ఇంటి దగ్గరనే ఒక టెంపుల్ ఇంకే
అదే
అరగంటనా
40 minutes, Prabhuji.
నైస్, వెరీ నైస్, సూపర్, థ్యాంక్ యూ. And Prabhuji messaged me that another cow also adopted on behalf of your birthday. So ఏం సంగతి మరి కౌస్ అడాప్ట్ చేసుకుంటారు మరి డివోటీస్ కి భోజనాలు పెట్టారా మొత్తది?
ప్రభుజీ మీరు ఎక్కడ ఉన్నారు, మీరు వస్తే పెట్టిద్దామని చూస్తారు. యాక్చువల్లీ అక్కడ మా ఊరు పక్కనే ప్రభుజీ, ఆయనకి 170 కౌస్ ఉన్నాయి ప్రభుజీ. యాక్చువల్గా వాళ్ళకి ఇన్కమ్ అంటూ ఏం లేదు, మళ్ళీ పాలు కూడా పిండరు ప్రభుజీ. యాక్చువల్లీ అండ్ పూర్ ఆల్సో ప్రభుజీ ఈస్ డూయింగ్ సో మచ్ సేవ టు కౌస్ ప్రభుజీ. సో వాళ్ళకి ఎట్లాగో ఒక ఇన్కమ్ రావాలని చెప్పేసి అడాప్ట్ చేస్తున్నాడు అంతే.
ఇది రెండవదా మూడవదా?
నాలుగోది.
4 cows. ఎంత ఉంటది మొత్తం ఒక్కొక్క కౌకి ఎంత వరకు ఖర్చు చేస్తారు అక్కడ వాళ్ళు ఫర్
ఫుడ్ అవన్నిటిని పొద్దున తీసుకెళ్తాడు ప్రభుజీ, అంటే అక్కడ దొరుకుతది ఊర్లలో. ఇంకా వాటికి ఏమన్నా ప్రాబ్లమ్స్ వస్తే అంటే ఇట్లా గడ్డికి కానీ అవి యూజ్ చేస్తారు ప్రభుజీ. ఇప్పుడు మాకు 8-10,000 లో ఇచ్చేస్తాడు కౌ.
ఒక్కొక్క కౌట్ ఎంత అండి?
అంటే 1000 బట్టి ప్రభుజీ.
ఓకే, మంత్లీ 10,000?
అలా కాదు, మనం ఎప్పుడు అడాప్ట్ చేసుకుంటే అప్పుడు ఆ డబ్బులు అంతే, దానికి మెయింటెనెన్స్ అంటూ ఏమి ఉండదు ప్రభుజీ.
ఓకే ఓకే,
ఆయన వాటి దాంట్లోనే తీసుకెళ్తాడు, కాకపోతే ఆ మనీ వాళ్ళు దేనికన్నా యూజ్ చేసుకుంటారని అట్లా ఇవ్వడం అంతే.
Nice. Thank you for your gesture, Mata, and Prabhuji also so nicely taking care of all this. Wonderful. Rather than spending, big parties, at least some of them donating for serving cows. Very wonderful gesture. And Krishna and Guru Parampara bless you all. Okay. Yes. Thank you. Yeah. He personally messaged me, Prabhuji, on behalf of Sirisha birthday. Nice, super. Or catch వెరీ నైస్.
170 కౌస్ ప్రభుజీ. అండ్ అక్కడ ప్లేస్ కూడా లేదు ప్రభుజీ పాపం కౌస్ కి, వేరే వాళ్ళ ప్లేస్ లో ఉంచడము, అంటే షెడ్ అనేది లేదు, ఎండ కొట్టిన వాన పడ్డ అట్లా.
అదే, థ్యాంక్ యూ ఫర్ డూయింగ్ దిస్. అట్లీస్ట్ వాట్ ఎవర్ యూ కెన్, యూ ఆర్ డూయింగ్. వెరీ నైస్.
ఎస్ ప్రభుజీ.
Yes, Mata. So we'll start. Thank you for sharing this. Yeah. So actually, in this book, we have completed so far the Krishna, the reservoir of pleasure, who is crazy. These 2 sections we have done, and then today we'll start introduction to the Bhagavad Gita as it is. Actually, this is the 1970th version. 1970. That time, 50 cents. This book in US currency, 50 cents book. That time. That's 1970 means it's how many years? 53 years back. So 53 years back, this book was there. Prabhupada is written. 1966 first printing. 1967, 68, 69, 1970. Very old book. In that book, these contents there about Adar, about Srila Prabhupada, about ISKCON, what is exactly International Society for Krishna Consciousness. And he has given this knowledge, Krishna, the reservoir of pleasure, who is crazy, and intro to Bhagavad Gita as it is. And this section appeared in regular Bhagavad Gita as it is book. So it's going to be repeated. Very nice. Repeated always helps us to remember. So better to read the introduction to the Bhagavad Gita as it is. So in this part of the book. So let me open. Yes. So introduction to the Bhagavad Gita as it is. Okay. Yeah. Let us continue. So Samyukta Mataji, please start reading.
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Introduction to the Bhagavad Gita as it is by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. The Bhagavad Gita is also known as Gita-Upanishad. It is the essence of Vedic knowledge and one of the most important Upanishads in Vedic literature. There are many commentaries on the Bhagavad Gita in English, and the necessity for another edition should be explained on the following basis. An American lady asked me to recommend an English edition of the Bhagavad Gita, which she could read. I was unable to do so in good conscience. Of course, there are many translations, but of those I have seen, not only in America but also in India, none can be said to be authoritative, because in almost every one of them, the author has expressed personal opinion through the commentaries without touching the spirit of Bhagavad Gita as it is. The spirit of Bhagavad Gita is mentioned in the Gita itself. It is like this: if we want to take a particular medicine, then we have to follow the directions written on the label of the bottle. We cannot take the medicine according to our own directions or the directions of a friend not in knowledge of this medicine. We must to follow the directions on the label or the directions of our physician. The Bhagavad Gita also should be accepted as it is, directed by the speaker himself. The speaker is Lord Sri Krishna. He is mentioned on every page as the Supreme Personality of Godhead or Bhagavan. Bhagavan sometimes means any powerful person or demigod, but here it means Krishna. This is confirmed by all the great teachers, including Shankara and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In India, there are many authorities on Vedic knowledge, and they have virtually all accepted Sri Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We should therefore accept Bhagavad Gita as it is, directed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. Now in the 4th chapter, the Lord tells Arjuna that this yoga system of the Bhagavad Gita was first spoken to the Sun God. The blessed Lord said, I instructed this imperishable science of yoga to the Sun God Vivasvan, and Vivasvan instructed it to Manu, the father of mankind, and Manu in turn instructed it to Ishwaku. This supreme science was thus received through the chain of disciplic succession, and the saintly kings understood it in that way. But in the course of time, the succession was broken, and therefore the science as it is appears to be lost. Arjuna was neither a great scholar nor a Vedantist, but a great soldier. A soldier is not supposed to be scholarly, and so Arjuna was selected to understand the Bhagavad Gita because of one qualification only. He was a devotee of the Lord. This indicates that the Bhagavad Gita is especially meant for the devotee of the Lord. There are 3 kinds. Shall I read, Prabhuji?
Read this one also, yeah.
Okay, Prabhuji. There are 3 kinds of transcendentalists: the yogin, the impersonalist, and the bhakta or devotee. Krishna says to Arjuna, I am making you the first man of the disciplic succession. The old succession is broken. I wish to re-establish the line of teaching which was passed down from the sun god. So you become the authority of Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavad Gita is directed to the devotee of the Lord, who is directly in touch with the Lord as a friend. To learn the Bhagavad Gita, one should be like Arjuna, a devotee having a direct relationship with the Lord. This is more helpful than yoga or impersonal philosophical speculation. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Yes, Prabhupada.
Thank you very much. Yes. So we have to read. Prabhupada writes an example. If you want to take a particular medicine, then we have to follow the directions written on the label of the bottle or doctor prescribed. You need to take like this. We cannot take the medicine according to our own directions. Why he has given this an example? Because nowadays, Prabhupada times also, when Prabhupada was present on this planet, he was also seeing so many different concocted versions of Bhagavad Gita, which has a personal opinion, express their personal opinion, and it's not authoritative. What exactly Krishna says, they have their own ideas. They couldn't understand what exactly Krishna said in the Bhagavad Gita. That's why, specifically, if you see our ISKCON Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada especially put that as it is, Bhagavad Gita as it is, to differentiate from other Bhagavad Gita and to this Bhagavad Gita. Actually, Bhagavad Gita is for whom? One quality is here described, Arjuna's one quality. What is that? He is a devotee of Supreme Lord. When a person reads Bhagavad Gita as it is, there is no other way. He will become definitely a devotee of the Supreme Lord. All other commentaries, all other various versions of Bhagavad Gita, some may become Gyanis, some may become Karmis, but they don't come to and they don't surrender to Supreme Lord Krishna. That is the essential thing. Bhagavad Gita, when somebody wants to read, means he has to surrender after getting this knowledge. At least to start practice, at least to surrender. That's the thing. So, but those versions, just an example is given, medical doctor, the medicine, it has to be directed through as a label or a doctor prescribed. Likewise, Krishna has given this knowledge to Arjuna. The previously as he had given this knowledge to Vivaswan, sun god, millions of years back. But now the knowledge lost, and he established again Guru Shishya Parampara, disciplic succession, and Arjuna is first receiver. And then later we find different personalities, Vaishnavacharyas, Madhvacharya, Ramanujacharya, Nimbarkaracharya, Vishnu Swami. So they got this knowledge, 4 Vaishnava Sampradayas. So that's the thing. We have to understand Bhagavad Gita from a authorized person who is in proper Guru Shishya Parampara, disciplic succession. That's where, if you see in our ISKCON, how many millions of Bhagavad Gita as it is books distributed. Whoever Bhagavad Gita as it is, that's it. At least if we having that book, if having that Bhagavad Gita as it is, so auspicious, invited. And if a person takes up and reads that knowledge, more he is gonna be, sooner than later, he is gonna be devotee of Supreme Lord. So that's the thing. So we have to understand Bhagavad Gita from a authorized person, Guru Shishya Parampara, right? So this is the thing. Yeah. There are 3 kinds of transcendentalists: a yogi, impersonalist, and bhakta, devotee. I am making you the first man of the disciplic succession. The old succession is broken. I wish to re-establish the line of teaching which was passed down from the sun god. So you become the authority of the Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavad Gita is directed to the devotee of the Lord, who is directly in touch with the Lord as a friend. Bhaktosmi sakacheti. 2 qualities. You are my friend and you are a wonderful devotee. Krishna says to Arjuna, Bhaktosmi sakacheti rahasyam etad uttamam. A very confidential matter, because you have these 2 qualities, friendly quality and devotional qualities. You are a friend, you are a devotee. I am gives most confidential knowledge so that your life becomes successful. By getting this knowledge, you will fight, you will win. You are working under my directions. I am making you as an instrument, and you get that glory. So that's what it is. So Bhagavad Gita is meant for devotees. At least we have to understand in a friendly mood. Yes, Krishna is my ever well-wisher he's a great friend of me. We have friends, right, in our life. Yes, we have wonderful friends carrying from our childhood. We sharing, caring, helping each other like that. So if we put ourselves in front of Krishna, Krishna is my friend. Krishna is my friend. Krishna is my master. Is going to give my knowledge, all that knowledge which required. So then Bhagavad Gita is going to be easily understandable subject matter. So let us see. Okay, so Shirisha Mata, you can continue from here.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Prabhuji,
Please.
actually I'm cooking, Prabhuji. I'm
Cooking.
hearing. Yeah.
Hearing. Oh, carry on. Sure.
Today I got late.
Yeah, I just started call little late. Anyway, I will end by 8:10. So no problem, Mata. You can hearing mode. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Who else there? Yes. Sapan Prabhuji, can you please read? Sapan Prabhu, Hare Krishna, I think you are speaking.
A devotee can be in relationship with the Lord in 5 different ways. He may have a passive relationship. He may have an active relationship. He may be in friendship. He may have the relationship of a parent. He may have the relationship of a conjugal lover of the Lord. Arjuna was a devotee in relationship with the Lord as a friend. This friendship is different from friendship in the mundane world. This kind of friendship is transcendental. Everyone has some relationship with the Lord. Unfortunately, in our present status, we have forgotten that eternal tie. Yet each of the millions upon millions of living beings has its particular relationship. By the process of service, one can revive one's original status with the Lord. Now, Arjuna was a devotee and he was in touch with Supreme Lord in friendship. Thus, the Bhagavad Gita was explained to him. How he accepted it should be noted. This is mentioned in the 10th chapter. After hearing the Bhagavad Gita from the Lord, Arjuna accepted Krishna as the Supreme Brahman. Every living being in Brahman or spirit, but the Supreme living being is the Supreme Brahman. Arjuna accepted Krishna as pure, free from all material contamination, as the Supreme Enjoyer, as the foremost person, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, never born and greatest. Now one may say that since Krishna and Arjuna were friends, Arjuna was only saying these things to his friend. But Arjuna mentioned that Krishna accepted as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, not only by himself, but by Narada, Vyasa, and numerous other great persons. Therefore, Arjuna says, whatever you have spoken to me, I accept as perfect. Your personality is very difficult to understand. You cannot be known even by the demigods. This means that even persons greater than human beings cannot know Krishna. How then can a human being know Krishna unless he is a devotee? In studying Bhagavad Gita, one should not think that he's equal of Krishna. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One who wants to understand Bhagavad Gita should accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Otherwise, it is very hard to understand and it becomes a great mystery. Stop, Prabhuji.
Continue, Prabhu. Yes.
The Bhagavad Gita is meant for delivering persons from the nescience of this material entanglement. Everyone is in difficulty, just as Arjuna was on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Not only Arjuna, but each of us is full of anxieties because of this material entanglement. Our existence is eternal, but somehow we are put into this position which is asat. Asat means unreal. Unless one is inquiring as to why he is suffering, he is not a perfect human being. Humanity begins when this inquiry is awakened in the mind. Every activity of human being is said to be a failure unless this inquiry is present. One should ask, where am I from? Where am I going? Why am I here? When these inquiries are awakened in the mind of a sane human being, then he can understand Bhagavad Gita. He must also have respect for Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna comes here just to establish the real work of life which man forgets. Out of many human beings, the Bhagavad Gita is directed to the one who seeks to understand his position. The Lord has great mercy for human beings. Therefore, he spoke the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna to enlighten him. Arjuna was actually above all such ignorance, but he was put into ignorance on the battlefield of Kurukshetra just to ask what life was all about, so that our mission of human life could be perfected. It is preliminary study of the science of God which is explained here. The first question is, what is the cause? Next, what is the constitutional position of living entities in respect to the controller? Living entities are not controllers. If I say I am not controlled, I am free, I do not speak well for my sanity. In this conditioned state of life, at any rate, we are all controlled. Next, we may consider Prakriti or nature, then time, the duration of existence or manifestation of this created universe, then karma or activity. The living beings are all engaged in different activities. All cosmic manifestation is engaged in activity. So we have to learn from Bhagavad Gita what is God, what is the nature of living entity, its relationship with the Supreme Personality, what is Prakriti, the cosmic manifestation, what is the control of time, and what are the activities of the living entities. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So tell me, Prabhu, 5 topics of Bhagavad Gita.
BJP KK Prabhuji. Bhakta, Bhakta,
Nair Babu, Bhakta ka, Bhagavan.
sorry, Bhagwan. J for P for Prakriti, J for is it Jiva? Yeah, Bhakta, Jiva, Prakriti, Karma, and Kala.
Sequence, yeah. Kala, Karma.
Kala.
First four are eternal, and the activities are temporary. Thank you, Prabhuji. Yes, remember that. Party plus KK. Chalo. So now these three questions are very, very important. One should ask, one should ask, where am I from? Where am I going? Why am I here? So this is the inquiry is awakened in the mind. It's a beginning thing. Humanity begins when this inquiry is awakened in the mind. Where I am from, where I am going, why I am here. This is the starting point of self-realization. To start with. So Bhagavad Gita answers everything here for these questions. So pretty straightforward purports actually. So basically, Prabhupada writes, Arjuna is accepting knowledge actually. No, whatever you have spoken to me, I accept as perfect. Your personality is very difficult to understand. You cannot be known even by the demigods. This means that even persons greater than human beings cannot know Krishna. How then can a human being know Krishna unless he is a devotee? That's the thing. Demigods also don't understand who is Krishna. Only human in the mood of devotional, they can understand Supreme Lord. That's where human beings situated in the Madhyama, middle planetary systems called, Bhumi. Bhurloka. Bhuvarloka is there. Tapoloka is there. Janaloka is Satyaloka is there. But this is the starting point. From here, a human being become a devotee and understand Krishna and come back to God. Even demigods also don't understand Krishna. How can we understand? Take an example of Indra. Is bewildered in different occasions. Pruthumaraj pastime, that Govardhan Lila pastime, how he acted. Who is supreme, and Brahma also, even Brahma also sometimes, Brahma Vimohana Lila, if you see, Brahma also bewildered. Who is the Supreme Personality of God? He, what is that? He hidden all the cows and cowboys, cowherdmen for 1 year. After he come back, but still he is seeing, said they are playing just like, every day. He was bewildered. I have hidden. I am creator. What's going on here? He felt that way. And then, then Krishna given blessings to understand properly who am I. That means demigod also don't understand who is Supreme Personality of God. Only devotees can be able to understand. Nice. Let us continue. Yes. So Prakriti, BJP KK, Bhagavan Jiva, Prakriti, Kala, Karma. First four are eternal, one is temporary. Karma activities are temporary. Yes. We'll continue from here. Yes. Yes, Samyukta Mataji, please continue.
Yes, Prabhuji. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is established that the Supreme or Krishna or Brahman or whatever you like, the Supreme Controller is greatest of all. The living beings are control. The Lord has control over universal affairs, the material nature. Material nature is not independent. It is working under the direction of the Supreme Lord. When we see wonderful things happening, we should know that behind these manifestations, there is a controller. Matter belongs to the inferior nature or Prakriti, and the living entities are explained as being of the superior nature. Prakriti means who is controlled. Prakriti is female. A husband controls the activities of his wife. Prakriti is also subordinate, predominated. The Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the predominator, and Prakriti, the living entities and material nature, is predominated over. So, according to the Bhagavad Gita, the living entities, although they are part and parcel of the Supreme, are taken as Prakriti. It is clearly mentioned in the seventh chapter of Bhagavad Gita, that this material nature is Prakriti and the living entities are also Prakriti. The constitution of the material or inferior Prakriti is divided into three modes: the mode of goodness, the mode of passion, and the mode of ignorance. Above these modes is eternal time. By the combinations of these modes and the control of eternal time, the activities called karma come into being. These activities have been going on from time immemorial, and we are suffering from or enjoying the fruits of these activities. Just as in the present life, we enjoy the fruits of our activities. It is as though I am a businessman who has worked very hard and intelligently and has amassed a large bank balance. I am the enjoyer of the fruits of my activities. Again, if I open a business with a large amount of money and lose it all, I am the sufferer. Similarly, in the field of life, we enjoy the different fruits of our work. Now, these things, the supreme, the living entities, Prakriti or nature, time and karma are explained in the Bhagavad Gita.
Continue with another two paragraphs. I think
Yes,
Pallavi Mataji let her read after.
Okay.
Continue. Yes.
Of these five, the Lord, time, and the living entity are permanent and eternal. The manifestations of Prakriti are temporary but not false, as some philosophers say. According to the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, the manifestations are quite real but temporary. They are like the clouds which appear during the rainy season but disappear during the dry season. These manifestations occur at certain intervals and then they disappear and the vegetation dries up. Nevertheless, this process of nature is working eternally. Material nature is separated energy of the Supreme Lord. The living entities are also energy of the Lord, but they are not separated. They are eternally related with the Lord. So, the Lord, nature, the entity, and time are all eternal. Karma is not eternal. The effects of karma may be old and we may be suffering from the results of activity performed in time immemorial, but we are able to change our activities. We simply do not know which activities will give us release from these material entanglements. This is explained in the Bhagavad Gita. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Yes. So all the topics, Ishvara, Jiva, Prakriti, Kala, Karma, is nicely explained in this Bhagavad Gita. Pallavi Mataji, Hare Krishna, would you be able to read?
Yeah, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. I'll read.
మీకు తెలుసు కదా మాతాజీ బీజేపీ కేకే మాతాజీ
యా ప్రభుజీ
చెప్పండి.
అచ్చా నన్ను చెప్పమంటున్నారా? భగవాన్ జీవ ప్రకృతి కాల కర్మ.
That's where Prabhupada describing in his this paragraph. You can continue. Yeah. The position of God. Okay. Yeah, please read, Mother. The position of God.
Yeah, Prabhuji. The position of God is that of supreme consciousness. The entities being parts and parcels are also consciousness. The entity is Prakriti or nature, and so also is the material energy. But the living entities are conscious and matter is not. Therefore, the entity is called the higher energy. But the living being is never supremely conscious at any stage. The supreme consciousness explained in the Bhagavad Gita as the Lord is conscious and the living beings are conscious, the entity of his limited body and the Lord Lord infinitely. The Lord lives in the heart of every being. Therefore, he has the consciousness of all living entities. The supersoul is living in each heart as a controller. He is giving directions to act as he desires. The living entity, however, forgets what to do. He determines to act in one way, then becomes entangled in his own actions and reactions and achieves only frustration. When he gives up one body for another, as one changes a dress, the reactions of his past activities remain with him, determining his next birth. Actions can be changed when a living being is in goodness, and in that state of sanity, he chooses to end his entanglement. So, of the five items, all are eternal except karma. Now, the entity's consciousness and the Lord's consciousness are both transcendental. They are not generated by association with matter. The theory that some material combination can generate consciousness is rejected in Bhagavad Gita. Just as a light may be reflected according to the color of the glass, consciousness is reflected in the material world, but it does not depend on matter for its existence. The supreme consciousness is different from the consciousness of the living entity in this way. The Supreme Lord says that when he descends into the material world, his consciousness is not materially affected. If he had been contaminated by contact with matter, he could not have spoken Bhagavad Gita. However, we are living entities. However, we living entities are contaminated by the material world. The Bhagavad Gita teaches that we must purify our activities in order to draw our consciousness back from that material entanglement. This purification of activity is called bhakti or devotional service. This means that although one's activities appear to be ordinary, they are actually purified. One may appear to work like an ordinary man, but the activities of a devotee of the Lord are not contaminated by the three modes. Continue చేయమంటారా ప్రభుజీ?
చేయండి.
When our consciousness is contaminated by matter, this is called our conditioned state. The false ego is the belief that one is a product of this matter. One who is absorbed in this bodily conception, as Arjuna was, must get free from it. This is a preliminary for one who wants liberation. Freedom from this material consciousness is called mukti. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, also mukti is used to mean liberation from this material concept and return to pure consciousness. The whole aim of Bhagavad Gita is to teach us to reach this state of pure consciousness. On the last page of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna asks Arjuna if he is now in purified consciousness. This implies action in accordance with the directions of the Lord. So, consciousness is there, but because we are only parts, we tend to be affected by the moods of nature. That is the difference between the individual living entities and the Supreme Lord. In contamination, consciousness says, I am the Lord, I am the enjoyer. Every material being thinks this. Consciousness has two psychic divisions. One says, I am the creator, and the other says, I am the enjoyer. Actually, the Lord is the creator and the enjoyer. The entity cooperates like a part in a machine. In the body, for example, there are hands, legs, eyes, etc. But these parts are not the enjoyers. The stomach is the enjoyer. All the parts of the body are not the enjoyers. All the parts of the body are engaged in satisfying the stomach. Everything should be given to the stomach. You can become healthy throughout your entire body when the parts of the body cooperate with the stomach. Similarly, the Lord is the enjoyer, and we living beings have only to cooperate with him. If the fingers try to enjoy the food, they are unable. They must give the food to the stomach in order to receive the benefit of it.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Prabhupada is given example of how to satisfy our hunger. When we take food, our stomach అంటారు కదా, మనం కడుపులో, తెలుగులో మనం అంటారు, కడుపులో బాగా ఆకలి అయినప్పుడు ఏమంటారు, ఎలుకలు తిరుగుతున్నాయి అంటారు ఫన్నీగా. అప్పుడు ఏం చేస్తాం మనం, ప్లస్ ఏదైనా తీసుకుంటే, ఫుడ్ తీసుకుంటే ఇట్ విల్ బి సాటిస్ఫైడ్. జస్ట్ లైక్ an example is given by Srila Prabhupada, like that we have to satisfy Supreme Lord, we have to work for him, then automatically everything will be properly situated. Yes, that's what the thing. So now let us understand from other paragraphs. It is straightforward paragraphs. Mukti, what is that mukti? Mukti is used to mean liberation from the material concept, that means bodily concept of life, to pure consciousness, soul concept. The whole aim of Bhagavad Gita is to teach us to reach this state of pure consciousness. On the last page of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna asks Arjuna if he is now in purified consciousness. This implies action in accordance with the directions of the Lord. That means, lastly, he said that, last verse of Arjuna's words, Karishe Vachanam Tava. Now I got the point, I got the knowledge you have given me, Krishna. Karishe Vachanam Tava. Now I act as you say. I am just an instrument. Karishe vachanam tava. That means he got the purified consciousness and he is working, he is properly situated, Kshatriya duties. He has to fight. No need to look at, grandmother, grandfather, brothers, relatives, etc., etc. No bodily concept of life. That's the thing. Okay. so same thing. So contaminated by contact with matter. The problem with our consciousness is we are too much attached to material things. It's a contaminations. So we have to get rid of these contaminations by adopting the devotional principles, devotional service. The purification activity is called devotion, bhakti, devotional service. To draw our consciousness, the Bhagavad Gita teaches us that we must purify our activities in order to draw our consciousness back from that material entanglement. Krishna, everything needs to be Krishnaized. Many times we were discussing. Right. So let us continue from this. I think Sirisha Mother, you want to read?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, you're back. So please continue.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Then actually, let us another 10 minutes.
Okay.
Swapna Mother also join. After that,
Yeah.
Swapna Mother will read. Okay. So everybody got some to read.
Yeah. The central figure is existence is the Supreme Lord. The entities by cooperation can enjoy. If a master is satisfied, his servants are also satisfied. Of course, the entities have this tendency to create and enjoy because the Lord has it, and the entities are his parts and parcels. We find in Bhagavad Gita that the Lord, the entities, manifestation, time, and action are completely explained. Taken together, this complete whole is called the Absolute Truth, Sri Krishna. The impersonal Brahman is also subordinate to the complete person. It is explicitly explained in the Brahma Sutra as being like the rays of the sun emanating from the sun disk. Brahman realization of the absolute truth is therefore incomplete. The Supreme Personality is above Brahman. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is called Satchitananda. Brahman realization is realization of his Sat or eternal future. Future. Super soul realization is realization of his Satchit. Aspect, eternity, and knowledge, but realization of the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, is realization of all futures. Satchitananda, in full vigraha or form. The Lord has form. He is a transcendental person. This is confirmed in all Vedic literature. Just as we are persons, so is the ultimate truth. Realization of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is realization of all the futures of the Absolute Truth. The complete whole personality must have all that we see and all that we do not see.
Continue, yes.
Yes, Prabhuji. The phenomenal world is complete by itself. The 24 elements of which this manifestation is comprised are complete in this universe. No further outside energy is needed. When the time is come, the universe will be annihilated by the complete arrangement of the complete. Small complaints exist in the whole complete. Incomplete knowledge result from misunderstanding of the complete absolute truth. Bhagavad Gita is complete. The Vedic knowledge is infallible. Here is an example of how the Hindus accept Vedic knowledge as complete. Cow dung is sacred according to Vedic scriptures. If one touches the dung of an animal, he must bathe his whole body, and yet cow dung can purify an impure place or person according to Vedic scripture. This seems contradictory, but because it is a Vedic injunction, we accept it, and by that acceptance, we make no mistake. It has been found by modern chemists that cow dung is a composition of antiseptic properties. Vedic knowledge is complete and it is above all doubts or errors. And Bhagavad Gita is the essence of all Vedic knowledge. Vedic knowledge comes down from higher sources. It is not like our material independent research work, which is imperfect. We must receive this knowledge from the spiritual master through the disciplic ascension, which began with the Lord Himself. Hare Krishna.
Hello, Hare Krishna Mataji.
Prabhuji.
Yeah, you are able to see. I mean, the last two lines you can continue.
Yes, Prabhuji. I read. We must receive knowledge from the spiritual master through the disciplic ascension, which began with the Lord Himself.
I couldn't hear. Thank you, Mataji. Yes.
Yes,
Thank you
Prabhuji.
for reading. Yes. Cow dung, why Prabhupada given? Cow dung is a one animal's stool. Animal, who is that? Cow, but it is in the way this it's described. It's very pure. We just have to accept. And there are so many medical propensities. There are so many medicinal qualities, with actually there is a Panchagavya therapy there with cow dung, with cow urine, with cow milk, yogurt, right? So there is a proper system. It is there since Vedic times. That means cow dung is a purified thing. That's said in Vedic literature. Whatever Veda says, it's perfect. No alternative or replace. That's it. So that's what it is. So let us see some more paragraphs and then we'll wrap up. Okay. I think Swapna Mataji joined.
Yes, Prabhuji.
You want to read Mataji? Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji, yeah.
Please read a couple of paragraphs.
Yeah. Just as Arjuna accepted Bhagavad Gita without any cutting, so we too must accept Bhagavad Gita without any cutting, interpretation, or whimsy. We should accept it as perfect knowledge, known by the Lord Himself. Only the Lord could have given this infallible knowledge. A living entity would not be able to. A living being in the mundane world has 4 defects. He is sure to commit mistakes. He is sure to be illusioned. He has a tendency to cheat. His senses are imperfect. With these 4 defects, one cannot offer perfect information. But Vedic knowledge was imparted by God in the heart of Brahma, the first living being in our universe, who passed it down through his sons. Except the Lord, no one is the proprietor of anything. The Lord is the original creator. He is the creator of Brahma, the original being in our universe. Therefore, we should accept things given to us by the Lord as our allotment. Arjuna had decided not to fight. He told the Lord that he could not enjoy the kingdom if he killed his relatives to obtain it. This was due to his bodily concept of himself, and thus his relation with uncles, brothers, nephews, and so forth. All these relationships pertaining to the body. But finally, Arjuna agreed to work for the Lord's enjoyment. We should not act like ordinary animals. Human life is meant for something else. Vedic literature is meant for human beings, not for animals. An animal can kill without sin because he is bound by the modes of his nature. But if a man kills, he is responsible. He has a choice in his actions. In the Bhagavad Gita, activities are explained as determined by the 3 modes of nature. Thus, there are actions performed in ignorance, actions performed in passion, and actions performed in goodness. There are also 3 kinds of eatables: food eaten in ignorance, in passion, and in goodness. These are all clearly described. Therefore, if we properly follow the instructions in Bhagavad Gita, our lives will be purified and we will reach our ultimate destination. This destination is also explained in Bhagavad Gita. Beyond this material sky, there is a spiritual sky. This material sky is temporary, and at the end of this universe, it will be annihilated. That is the law of material nature. But there is another nature which is eternal. The soul is eternal. Just as the Lord is eternal, we have an intimate relationship with the Lord, and we are qualitatively equal to the Lord. The transcendental abode is also eternal. The association of the Lord and the living entities in the transcendental abode is the ultimate aim of human life. The Lord is so kind to the living entities because the living entities all have a claim to being sons of Lord. The Lord says that of every type of living being, whatever it may be, He is the Father. The Lord wishes to reclaim all these souls to have them back in the eternal sky. The entities can be restored to the eternal sky once they are free of illusion. So he comes himself in different incarnations, or else he sends his confidential servants as son or as teachers to reclaim the conditioned souls. This reclaiming is no sectarian religious process. It is the eternal function of the eternal living entities in relationship to the eternal Lord. Sanatana Dharma means the eternal religion. This word eternal is explained as something without beginning and without any end. We must accept it like this. The word religion is somewhat different from the Sanatana Dharma. It means faith, and faith may change from one object to another. But Sanatana Dharma means that which cannot be changed. Liquidity cannot be taken from water. Heat cannot be taken from fire. Similarly, Sanatana Dharma cannot be taken from the living entities. We must find out the eternal function of eternal living entities. In order to know that Sanatana Dharma is, Ramanujacharya says that this has no beginning and no end. Some may feel that this is somewhat sectarian concept. But if we look deeper, we will see the Sanatana Dharma is the business of all people of the world, nay, of all the living entities in the universe. Now, a particular religious faith may have some beginning in the history of human society, but Sanatana Dharma lies outside of history, for it belongs to the living beings who have no birth and who never die. They continue to live after the destruction of the material body, just as they lived before its formation. Let us try to understand this eternal religion from the Sanskrit root word for dharma. This root word means to sustain. Therefore, dharma is that quality which remains always and which cannot be taken away. When we speak of fire, it is concluded that light and heat will be there. Otherwise, we cannot call it fire. In a similar way, we must find the constant companion of the living beings. That eternal part of quality is his religion. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. We'll stop here. Um, very nice things explained by Srila Prabhupada. Two important concepts we have to learn here. So, whatever comes from human beings, that knowledge is imperfect because of these four defects. What are the four defects? He is sure to commit mistakes. He is sure to become illusioned, and he has tendency to cheat. He don't have a proper senses, imperfect senses. Our eyes, our vision, the capability of seeing, hearing. We have limited things. That's why it's imperfect senses. Right? What's going on in other room we cannot see, and we are committing mistakes. To err is human, right? To accept is a superhuman. To accept that. Committing mistakes, becoming illusion. Illusion means, how can we understand? When we drive on the road, suddenly we see it looks like snake, but it's a thread. From long distance, if we see something is going on, some thread just putting like snake, spiral like that, we feel that it is snake, but it's unless we go near to that we won't understand. That means we become illusion from the far. So because of that, we have this propensity to cheating propensity and imperfect senses. With this, there is no perfect knowledge. So Vedic literature given by Supreme Lord, who doesn't have all these 4 defects, is a perfect personality. That's why knowledge is perfect. Knowledge is eternal. Whatever knowledge come from a perfect personality, that knowledge is eternal. Think about it, He defined Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi. Dukkha Doshanu Darshanam. Every living entity I undergo Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi in the material world. That is the perfect knowledge. Now we are in modern times, technology times, internet, WhatsApp, social media, etc. Right? But this is there. The principle is there. The problems of life is there. Eternal. So these concepts, whatever knowledge come from a supreme personality of Godhead is perfect and eternal. So whatever comes from human beings is not perfect. Concocted every time, If I am in before that joining to Salesforce technology, I was into Java technology. In Salesforce also, in any technology, take up any technology, every 3 months, 4 months, we have to update. Because so many new things added, so many bug fixes, etc. going on. Because of human brain is not perfect. Every time they have to add, they have to perfect, they have to fix something. It's not. So this knowledge, Vedic literature is not like that. Okay. There is another concept is Prabhupada talks about the dharma. What is the dharma of a living entity? To serve Supreme Lord. Our constitutional position is always servitorship only. We never ever become master. Jivera Swarubhai, Krishnera Nityadas. And here dharma, Sanatana Dharma. What is that Sanatana Dharma? It's an eternal religion, right? What is the thing? What is the thing? This liquidity cannot be taken from water. The liquidity, right? Manali tadipedi. Water and changes tadiputad manal, right? The liquidity. It cannot be separated from water. Otherwise, it won't be called water. Heat cannot be taken from fire. That means when we talk about fire, heat is there. But similarly, Sanatana Dharma cannot be taken from the living entities. We must find out our eternal function of the eternal living entities in order to know what Sanatana Dharma is. Ramanujacharya says that this has no beginning and no end. Sanatana, eternal religion. That's why it's eternal religion. No beginning and no end. That means the soul created by Supreme Lord, no end, no beginning. We are eternally existing along with Krishna. Actually, we are part and parcel of Supreme Lord, right? Mamai Vamsho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. Our dharma is Sanatana. Our nature of the living entity is Sanatana, always existing. In our body, what is that permanent thing? Soul. So, right? Spirit soul. So no beginning and no end. That's where there is. When there is no beginning and no end, that means there is no death, there is no birth, right? So it's always there, eternally existing. Some may feel that this is a somewhat sectarian concept, but if we look deeper, we will see that Sanatana Dharma is the business of the people of the world, nay, of all the living entities in the universe. Now, a particular religious faith may have some beginning in the history of human society, but Sanatana Dharma lies outside of history. We all spirit souls, which connects to Supreme Spirit, Supreme Lord. We are all eternally existing, but due to our contaminational state, due to misuse of our free will, due to our different material activities, we drag into this material world. And that soul occupies material body to enjoy that fruits, to enjoy or suffer from that activities. So when we go back to God, it means we are eternally existing alone. Just like previously we existed, now we'll continue with eternally existing along with Supreme Lord Krishna. We have to understand that Sanatana Dharma is eternal religion. That Sanatana Dharma of a living entity is to serve Supreme Lord. Krishnera Nityadasa. That's the thing. So we are all servants to Supreme Lord. That is the only one point. Krishna is the only master. Krishna Mata, Krishna Pita, Krishna Pranadhana. There is one song is there. So Krishna is the only our master, Krishna is only our father, Krishna is only our mother. He only created, no? That's the thing. So we have to understand from these examples of, fire and water cannot be separated, those qualities. Just like we are eternally existing, we are eternally related with Krishna. That's where when a soul turns to Supreme Lord, Krishna is going to be very happy, very, very happy. Because he don't want to see the soul, my part and parcel is not going, is undergoing different sufferings. No, you don't want to see. That's where Krishna is waiting for us actually. So Bhagavad Gita teaches us all these concepts, right? Ishvara, Jiva, Prakriti, Kala, Karma. So nicely. In this Bhagavad Gita, in the introduction of this Bhagavad Gita as it is, he explained so nicely actually. It's a very, so much knowledge is there in this introduction. So actually we'll stop here and then we'll connect on Friday and continue from reading. Okay. Thank you so much for joining today. Sorry for the delay again. I started call at 7 o'clock. We'll connect on time. Okay. On Friday. Wish you all very happy again. You are all following the Ekadasi, Shaktila Ekadasi today. In US now it's starting. So please read some more if you have time. Choose any sloka from the Bhagavad Gita and you can start reading, because Ekadasi it is only for devotional activities. The more time we spend in devotional activities, the better, the more pious things, the better consciousness we develop. And especially Ekadasi comes with so much auspiciousness. And we avoid grains and beans on this day. We only take light food. So please, before you take rest tonight, take one sloka from any either Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam. Take up any sloka, read translation and purport, and take rest. That is my request. Please do that. Okay. So thank you so much for joining today. Sapan Prabhu, Samyukta Mataji, Lakshmi Mataji, Pallavi Mataji, Sirisha Mataji, Swapna Mataji. Thank you so much. Let us connect on Friday and continue reading. Okay. Vancha Karubhyascha Krupa Sindhu Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrunda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Gurudev ki jai. Nitai Gaur Hari Premanande Hari Hari. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Yeah, see you all on Friday. Take rest. Nice. Hari Bol.